Since I came to Rome, my experiences shaped me to be the person I am today. I made new friends, tried good food, studied, explored Rome, traveled to other cities in Europe, participated in service learning activities, played on the JCU team, and did more studying. But let's start from the beginning. On the 28th of August, I arrived from Miami to Rome. It was my 4th time in Rome, so I was much more prepared than a lot of other students. The check-in process took longer than we have expected, so starting from day 1, we're exploring the city. The incident has taught me that one of the important things in integrating into a new culture is to be patient, respectful, and to think of alternatives that can bring more benefit. The first week of orientation flew by, and I made lots of new friends. Together, we visited famous sites, restaurants, and spent fun time getting to know each other. Later on, the classes started, but we still did not have too much work to do, so we decided to travel over the weekend. The first trip we booked was to Cinque Terre. The weather was beautiful and we wanted some time on the beach. We had a spectacular trip full of salty water, pictures, and walking. One important lesson that I learned from that trip is never to book your apartment too far from the beach, because then you end up having to hike for an hour to get there. After the trip, we realized that we were actually in college and not on a vacation, so we began to put more time and effort into studies. Creating priorities and then following them is a very important skill that I have been practicing since I came to Rome. Because if I know what is important to me, it will help me to focus on those things and to spend the time wisely. In between the studying, I had my first service learning experience, which took place in Casa della Donne, where I taught students, which were Italian adults, English. At the first glance, the service learning was nothing different from the community service I was required to do in high school, but I was happy to find out that later on my opinion will change. In between the traveling, school, and service learning, I went to volleyball tryouts and made it to the JCU volleyball team. With my teammates, we had some incredible practices, some hard games, but overall we enjoyed our time together. The knowledge of my priorities also helped me in this case of sharing the time in between volleyball, studying, and hanging out with my friends while exploring Rome. Some weeks of studying were going by, a group of friends and I decided to visit Munich. And here it was. The hardships were upon me. When I thought that everything was great and nothing bad could possibly happen, I had to shop for a coat. Coming from Miami, I was not used to shopping for warm clothes, but sadly I needed one to go to Munich in October. Besides being a bit cool in Munich, my friends and I had an amazing time there. We visited a castle outside of the city, tried additional dishes, and wandered around Munich. After coming back, midterms were right around the corner, and we put full effort into studying. On one of the weekends in between the midterms, NUin participated in the Retake Roma, which was a service learning activity where we cleaned up our Trastevere neighborhood. My group and I focused on taking down stickers from road signs, buildings, and garage doors. The cleanup was a rewarding time to give back to the community where we were living in. By being global citizens, we learn to care not just about ourselves and the place where we came from, but also about the people, the community, and our role within the community. This knowledge gives me the leverage for my future life in Boston and for always bringing the most to the community I'm a part of. The midterm period was over and we decided to celebrate by having a trip to Prague. In Prague, we visited the Mayor's Lego Museum to climb a tower to see a bird's eye view of the city and drank hot chocolate. After coming back, I had my second community service event in Casa della Donne, which I found different from my first one. I believe that this session was different from the previous one because I was able to connect with the students and to see the satisfaction in their eyes when they understood what the words we were reading meant. As studying was getting harder and harder, there was less time to explore the city because I was putting more time into work in order to keep my priorities and goals for the time in Rome straight. Education and personal growth first, everything else second. As it is sad to say, but traveling and the time spent going out with friends became rarer. But Thanksgiving is approaching fast and most of our families are coming to visit, so we'll be spending more time all together. And then it will be the time for finals and the beautiful journey in Rome will be coming to an end. The statement I made at the beginning of the story, that my life here in Rome shaped me to be the person I am today, is very true. I have learned how to book my own flights, how to manage workload, sports and traveling, but most importantly I have grown as a person whom I am proud to be. I'm incredibly thankful for the NUin program and for the opportunity to be a part of it. Life is a beautiful ride, and all of my experiences in Italy are the best way to describe it.